One quick aside that I want to make is to notice that when we load our profile page, we see, especially if we do a hot restart, that when the image of our post is loaded from scratch, we don't see anything, and then immediately our image pops into place. It would be better to pursue a different way of loading this image. So for example, we saw a loading spinner, or the image faded into place while it was being loaded. Or remember how we're using the package cached network image in order to display a number of our images. Whenever we want to display our post, we're going to use a custom cached network image widget in order to do both the things that I mentioned. To take a look at an image of what we're going to be building, we want, when our image loads, for it to fade into place, to gradually have it fade from a transparent background to our image when it's loaded, as well as display a loading spinner. As a result, we'll have a much nicer user experience than just having the picture jolt into where it's going to be displayed. So I've already provisioned for you a custom widget called customimage.dart in our widgets folder to make this. And we're going to return from this function, which we'll use to create this widget, the cached network image widget from cached network image. Previously we were using the cached network image provider, which is slightly different. But all the same, this will cache any network image we have in our app. And for this reusable widget, we're going to pass some additional options. So on top of providing an image URL on the image URL parameter, and that's going to be set to media URL, which we'll provide as our one argument, which will be of type string. We want the image to fit the available space with boxFit.cover. We want it to cover the available space, and we have this placeholder function which will allow us to display a loading spinner or whatever widget we like while our image is being loaded. So here for this function we're going to get in the parameters context and URL. We won't need either of these, but these are required, and we want to return a padding widget, and it's going to have as its child our circular progress. Actually, we're going to just use a normal circular progress indicator, and we're going to set its padding to edge insets all 20. So this by default is going to center the widget within our image. And then also, in the event that this image doesn't load for any reason, we have this error widget argument. This too is a function where we get context URL and error, and in the event of any error we just want to return, say, an icon set to icons.error. So that's a nice fallback to display if for whatever reason we can't display the image. And now to use this function, which returns a widget, to test this out we'll head to our post.dart file, and we'll go to where we're building our post image for the build post image function. Instead of displaying our image with image.network, we'll now use our cached network image function. We'll make sure to import that, and we'll pass in our media URL to it. So now let's save, and I'll do a hot restart. So when we take a look at our post on our profile page, we see our loading spinner and it fades into place. And now to reuse our cached network image, let's create our post tile. So our post tile in our profile page is going to look just like this. It's going to compose a grid of images, and it's just going to be a stripped version of our post, just displaying the image itself with no other information. So for this widget, it's also within our widgets folder called post_tile.dart. And first of all, we want post tile to accept an argument of our post. So we'll add a final variable of type post. We'll import the post widget / model. We'll call the variable post, and then we'll pass that to our constructor as this.post. Then we'll simply return a gesture detector in build, where for on tap in the future we'll have a function that will enable us to see a full screen version of the post. So for now, let's just print showing post. And for its child, we'll reuse our cache network image and pass in post.media URL. And then to display this widget in our profile page, we'll save the file and then head back to Profile, and then navigate to our Build Profile Posts function. And for now, we'll comment out where we're returning our column. And to create these grid tiles, we'll first make a list of type grid tile, which is a widget. We'll make a variable of the same name, initialized to an empty list. We'll take our posts that we get in an init state, iterate over them with for each, and for each post, we want to first pass down the data to our new post tile widget, which we'll make sure to import. Then this is going to serve as the child to a grid tile widget, and we want to add this created grid tile to our grid tiles list with the add method. And then from our function we'll return gridView.count, where the cross-axis count will be 3. There'll be 3 tiles for the width. The child aspect ratio will be 1.0. Main axis spacing will be set to 1.5. Cross-axis spacing will be 1.5, so that's going to be the width both between the tiles horizontally and vertically. Shrink wrap will be true. Physics will be never scrollable physics. That's a class or a widget. And for the children, that'll be set to our grid tiles list. Now we can save and check out the result. So now we have this grid view composed of grid tiles for our profile page, and in the next video we'll see how to toggle between the grid view and the list view which we have.